Hey, welcome back. So here I am going to pot these up with you guys, even though I said I wasn't going to. Because as I was cleaning them up, I saw some things that I want to point out, some things to look for, and kind of the reason why I'm very adamant about removing the seedling plug, that little moss plug, or the cocoa coir plug that comes with that little spongy thing. There were a couple of things on some of them that I think is interesting for you guys, so we're going to pot them up. Now the key is, let's hope that that's enough mix. That's like a plethora of things. That's everything I had left. I've got some medium bark in there, some small orchiata, I've got fir bark, I've got perlite, I got a little bit of charcoal. It's kind of just a conglomerate of whatever I had left. I've already emailed Ken to let him know that I'm going to be putting in an order because with these 9 ladies, we are out. Real quick, let me show you. So this one I already repotted. This was the one that I said was probably going to be a medium. When I cleaned her up, she literally had one good root, and she has a new root growing. So she is in this moss that I've just recently wet. I let her sit in there overnight. She's going to just hang in this little wall hanger here until she kind of establishes herself, and then I'll figure out what to do with her. But so I did pot her up, and then I thought, you know, let's just pot up the rest of them on camera, and let me point out a couple of things. Not on all of them, but on some. So let me get everything situated, and I'll be right back. I think I have everything. Fingers crossed I do. If not, well, I'll just go get it now. Where do we start? So behind the bucket here, I have an assortment of pots, and all of these you can get from the Orchid Supply Store, as well as you can tell, Phalaenopsis, Vandas, Cattleyas, any kind of orchid houseplants, you name it. If you decide to go and purchase something for yourself, whether it's 1 item or 100 items, 12% discount. Use coupon code TRISH at checkout, and you will save 12%, and it's free shipping here in the continental United States. For international, you do have a shipping fee. That said, where do we start? I'm just going to start with this little one that's right here. So this is the one, and I lost the tag to the one that had the OX in front of it. So I'm gonna have to go on the other video and see which one it was. I do still have the box with all the paper. I'm thinking I might have got it mixed up in there. Maybe it fell and I wasn't paying attention. Either way it goes, I'll try to figure out which one that was. But this one was the one that had the 2 leaves on either side that had something going on with them, either chlorosis, it wasn't senescing, something was going on. So I just went ahead and took them off because she does have this lovely new leaf coming in. I soaked her last night and then took them out this morning, gave them another little soak just to make it a little wet, and I did decide to soak them in some CalMag. No seaweed, just CalMag. But as you can see, some of this bark that she had with her is still on her. I'm not going to try to force that off. I am going to try to get all of these into, and I have a bucket over here. I'm going to pour the water out so I can move the containers off of the table so I have space as I'm potting up. See, I'm trying to think ahead. But I'm going to try to get everyone in the smallest container possible, because my idea is I want to check on these girls in about 2 months, take them out of their pots, see what's going on with the roots, clean up the roots, and then put them back in the same pot. Because a lot of the roots on some of these are cracked. I just want to make sure that they're going to be okay after I repot. So I am going to get her probably, let's see, let's try one of these here. These are the 2 smallest. These are 4-inch, I think, 4-inch pots. And as you can see, they're both 4-inch, but this one is a little bit wider. The circumference is more even. This one here kind of tapers. So let's just see which one goes in better. Here, let's see. And this is another reason I wet, so when I twist, the roots are kind of a little more forgiving so I can get them where I want them, and they don't really break more than what they've already broken from me cleaning and not saving all of them. So she fits actually pretty nice in there. So I'm not going to try it in this one since I do have her here. I'm just going to leave her the way she is and just pour the bark in there. And I do have the moss out as well because some of these may go in all moss. Just kind of depends on what I feel like once I get everybody kind of in their place and situated. I will put a little bit of slow release fertilizer in with this one. So let me get that in. Did remember that. I did not remember my little teaspoon that I literally dug to the bottom of my basket that I hold my stuff in because it fell, and well, here we are. Just going to sprinkle a little bit right here. Not too much. All right. Because this root here, I don't know if you can really see it, but she has a nice little root tip right there where the some of the mycorrhizal fungi fell on that root. But do you see that little root tip? I'm expecting her to pick up on the root system because she does have that new root growing, and then she's got that root tip, and she's got some healthy little roots, but she's got a few in here that are questionable that I left on anyway, just because I didn't want to take off everything. So we'll just get that one all nicely potted up. And some of these I'll probably fast forward over once I start potting. Just because, I mean, you guys have seen people pot up plants before. You don't really need to see that part. And I am going to make sure to keep the crown, or the base, not the crown, but the very base right here. I'm not going to cover it too much. Any bark that I put there will be a lot. I'll try to get the larger pieces like this, which is a medium size. I'll try to put there just so that that dries really quickly and there's not a lot of moisture around that. I'm also going to get some stickers. I'll put the today's date, probably not the date. Let's just do the month and the year. I'll just put September of 23 in here. This way I can keep these guys separate from the other phals that I got and watch the progress. And especially if I'm wanting to repot them in about 2 months, I'll have to know which ones they are. Because my phal collection is growing now, I, need to keep up with what I've got. And I did a count last night. So with these 9 that I got from Ken, I have suddenly built my collection to, it's either 99 or 100. Now, if you count the Phalaenopsis that are on a mount, there's 3 on there, but I count them as 1. Probably over 100. It is what it is. Now let's get these girls over here. So I've got these 2 soaking together. And we're going to do the green pixie first, I believe. Was that? Yep, that one will come out first. Oh, I've got 3. Okay, well, we've got 3 in there. So let me lay Miss Pixie down. And we'll put this over here. And because I just soaked them once I got home. Normally I don't work on Fridays, but you know what? It's getting into that busy season. People have met their deductibles. They want to get some things done. I do work for a specialist. And so we're getting a little busy, so we have to do some overflow days. And this past Friday was an overflow day. And I see where I kind of missed a little bit of this root here. And it is a branching root, but I'm just going to cut it off because the tip is dry and it's starting to dry back. So this one here, I did cut part of the stem. I cut half the stem. By the time I got all of the roots and everything off, her stem was about from here to here. So I did cut her stem back a little bit just so I could get her a little deeper and not up so high. And I did also clean as much of the old sheathing, the old sheathing where leaves have dried off and fallen off of each one of these, okay? So that allows for some of the roots to get out and to give her some more air and space to grow. But as you can see, her roots are not that bad, and she does still have some bark on there. We are not forcing that bark off. And this one is the green pixie. So I did manage to keep the tag on that one. And should we try the same size pot, guys? Let's just try the same size pot. Let's see. But I am going to put a little bit of media at the bottom of this one, just in case she does sit in there. And there are little moss pieces in here because, again, I just grabbed all the stuff I had around that had different mixtures in it, just to make that room. So I would have enough to get these girls going. All right, let's see. Will she fit into this 4-inch? I may have to bump up to the 5-inch. Yep, I'm gonna have to bump up to the 5-inch. So that's all right. Or is this a 6-inch? Let's see. Nope, 5-inch. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. You know what? We're gonna save that one. I'm sure we'll use it for another one. I don't want to put that back in there. Like I said, let me put some here. And because the holes on the bottom of this one are a little bit bigger, I will kind of shake so that the smaller pieces come out. It's just kind of one of those anal things that I do. This way it doesn't fall out while I am trying to water and whatnot. All right, a little bit of mycorrhizal fungi. And again, with this one, the plug had rotted some of the stem on this one, so that is why I decided to cut the stem off, because it was getting kind of soft. And I did decide to leave this leaf on here just because I feel like she needs it. She is finishing off this one, so we should have a new one coming. And I like to pot my phals, kind of starting off with them sitting on the edge like this, and then later, as I'm getting to the top with the media, I will raise her up. So don't think I'm burying her too much. I know that's what it looks like. So, and I'll fast forward over this one. All right, so there she is. Got her done. We'll set her off to the side. Actually, let me start setting them over here. And once I'm done, I will take and just quickly flush some water through them just to get that excess dust out of there and to get everything settled in. The ones that I could remember that were majority bark, and those are the ones that usually have the bark on them, are the ones that are just all bark. I feel like that's what they kind of are used to. Not only that, I want them to get used to it because I don't want to use a lot of moss in those. I like my moss, but moss is a commodity, and it's my liquid gold. That's what Deanna from Nicole, Deanna, and I call it. We call it our liquid gold. So I use it only if need be. Let's see, let's get another one out of here. I'm going to talk about this other one here in a moment. We're going to do this one first. So this one, if you look at this one really close, once I cleaned everything up, this one here was starting to get soft, and this up here was all mushy. All this black that you see on the stem and right up along the top was very mushy, and that spag plug or that sponge plug, whatever you want to call it, was right up on it. So even though the outside and the top look dry, if you're going to pot your orchid with the seedling plug in there, you have to remember that that seedling plug does not dry as quickly as everything else. If it's just take it out. Just take it out. Save yourself a lot of trouble, because this poor girl here, like you can even see on this side, it kind of was trying to rot off too. So just take it out. You don't need it. Now Wanda, she probably will fit in there, but I wonder if she's just going to be too top heavy. That's the problem with this one. So let's put her in a 5-inch, but I'm going to put her in a 5-inch that doesn't have aeration holes, simply because she has some nice roots. And this is the one that had the active root system. Like we have some branching here. We have an active root tip here. So I don't want to have this dry out too quickly. So this one, I am going to put a little bit of moss at the bottom. Here we go. Just a wee bit. And then let's go ahead and put the fungi in there. And you know what, guys? Those that I put the fungi in that I know for sure that I did, I actually am seeing better root growth. So I don't know if that's just my imagination, and I'm thinking that's what I'm seeing, but I really feel like it does do something. All right, so now I will just fill her up with majority bark with a little bit of moss kind of sprinkled around, just so that it can kind of encourage some more root growth. And this is one that was also, a lot of moss came off of it, so it is used to having moss in its mixture. So I don't want to just completely take that away from her right now. A little bit here. And I'm going to show you in a minute what I use to get all the moss out from between the leaf joints and the middle of the orchid as well. Try not to get any more in there. Like I said, I'm not putting a lot of moss, so we have some at the bottom. I'm going to put some right there and some over here on this other side. And then after that, it's just all going to be bark. Okay, so let me finish getting her set up, and then I'm going to show you how I get all the moss from in between all the goodies here. Aside from just, you know, we can blow it out, but sometimes it's stuck in there where it doesn't come out even when we're blowing on it. I'll show you another little trick, and you guys probably do it, but just in case, you know what happens when one assumes. So let me get her pulled up just a bit, because there we go. I want nothing but bark around the base of her, because I don't want that section to continue rotting, because it did dry out. I took off all the old sheaths, just kind of put a little bit of alcohol in there because it wasn't quite soft. It was getting there. So I was like, well, let me just put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on there and see if she doesn't just kind of settle in and dry out a little bit for me. So let me press down just to kind of get those roots sturdied in there. Now with her, I may have to get a rock to kind of help support her. The little trick I do where I just put like a little rock right up underneath for her to lean on. So I'll do that after the video, of course, because I don't bring a rock with me. But what I use is, I use a bamboo skewer and this is an eyeshadow. Let's see what kind. This is an angled liner brush. I guess you use it for eyeliner, but it's very small, and I like the fact that it's angled because you can really get this kind of in there, and then you just sweep it out. And that's what I did here. Plus it'll kind of go in between the leaf joints as well to make sure that everything comes out. I always also try not to have perlite next to the base of an orchid, because it does retain moisture a little bit longer. Now let's chat about this one, since we chatted about that one. This one is kind of along the same lines. So after she got all cleaned up, and I cleaned up all her sheaths, got rid of all papery roots and that jazzy stuff. So this one actually had to have cinnamon. So do you see right there? So she had to have cinnamon there. And I had to put some cinnamon on here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually an indentation on this one. So to save her, I put the cinnamon on there to stop whatever was going on. And I did also cut her stem. Her stem was rather long. But this, again, is an example of why I take out that little seedling plug stuff whenever I do repot. Now, she's going to be a big girl. I'm going to go ahead and put her, again, in a 5-inch pot. I don't expect her to have any issues. Famous last words, right? And I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a rock for her as well. And yes, I did check the crowns on all of them. Okay, I cannot get those apart. We'll just put those there and see if we can't get to the next one. Okay, maybe. Come on. There. Boom. All right. So after my surgery, I do still have some grip issues. They said it takes a while to get your full grip back. So, and it's only been a few months. I'm an impatient person, though. I want to go back to normal, but not the normal where I was having the pain and the issues. So I don't want that normal. This one also had some moss attached to it. So again, we'll just put a little bit of moss at the bottom. I'll put a little bit of moss on the inside so that it'll keep with that, but I'll make sure to keep the moss away from the damaged areas there. And I know this looks kind of big for the size of the roots, but she's gonna, you can see by her leaves, she's gonna be a big girl. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So I need to give her, like, she would look ridiculous in this pot, because this is actually the pot she should go in. But she wouldn't look very good in there, and she probably wouldn't stand very well in there either. That would be another issue. All right, so I've got some bark in there. Now let me put just a little bit of moss before I start pulling her up to get her away from that moss. All right, and then I'm gonna fast forward over the rest of this, and we will go on. I think that is all of the ones that had the major issues, but I'll double check. Okay, so for right now, I do have a little rock in there that's kind of holding her up, but I had an epiphany as I was putting the rock on there. I'm going to end up staking her, because what if I'm watering and water gets on the rock, it splashes onto the middle here, goes into this leaf. I just saw a bunch of horror going on, so I will stake her after I get done here. Let me double check here. Let me see. Is anything else going on? Yes, this one. This is another example And this is the one with one of the best root systems, so I'm not too upset about it, but this one, I ended up cutting her crown as well, her stem. I would like to cut more, and I might still do that, but she still has quite the sheaths messed up in here. It was soft and soggy, and it needed to be cut off to a certain point. And I think I'm still going to cut off probably to about right here. Maybe, let's see if I can show you right here, which means that she will lose this little section of roots right here. If I do that, this little section right here. But I feel like if I do that, she'll have enough reserve on the back end to get her going. So I'm going to see if I can do it with my Fiskars, because I don't have my heavy duty ones handy. Nope. Okay, I may have to go get the handy duty ones. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stem off, repot the rest of these ladies here, and I'll be back and we'll look at the end result. Just going to pop in real quick. So I did cut it off, and this is what she lost right here, but this is what she has left. So she's got quite the roots left, and I probably will have to go get a bigger pot for her, which is fine. So again, be right back. All right, so we are done. It's been about an hour and a half because I had to refinagle some of them. And it looks like I have a lot of media left, but most of this, as you can see, is the dust that comes out of the bags. And normally what I do when I get to the bottom of a bag is I will put it through the colander and get all that out. So that's what I'll do with the rest of this. However, let's just see what we've got here. So this one here, I did end up staking it on an old flower spike. And these clips, guys, you can get these at the Orchid Supply as well. Let's just cover that root up a little bit. There we go. So this way I didn't have to put any rocks or anything in there. So we'll see how she does. Then green pixie here in her slotted pot. And then this one here also has one of those clips on there. Those are the dragonfly clips. The butterfly clips, he has those as well. Got this one, which I did not have to stake. This is when I was thinking about putting a stake in, but I found a large piece of bark I just kind of set in the front to keep it from leaning too much. Then we have this one that also has a little dragonfly stake, and I don't see any new growth on her quite yet, but she did have some root tips growing, so there should be a leaf coming soon. And of course then we've got this one here, and the one I took the two leaves off. We didn't do that one together. And then this one here, which she's a little droopy, but with her nice little soak she got earlier, this should perk up. This is her latest leaf. Either way it goes, I'm going to set them all on that small table once I get everything cleaned up. Set them on that small table, kind of keep them together so I can remember to water them more frequently for the next few weeks, probably for the next 2 to 3 months, just until they kind of start establishing into those pots. And we'll do an update on them, let's just say in a month. No, let's do 2 months. Let's give them time to settle in, really get their grow on, and then we'll unpot 1 or 2 of them on camera and kind of see what's going on. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Don't forget to go ahead and give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you want to watch the progress of this selection of ICPU orchids or any of the others that I have, or just my orchids in general. Here's just a little sneak peek for those of you who are new to the channel. I have all of those, and we've got some over here, got some over there, we got some over there. So I've got quite a few. All are grown in different media. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everybody have a beautiful day. See you next time.